I wonder who the Redeemers, if they could like I'll lead this part. If y'all could like see Redemption 46 react with like any other like reactors, who would y'all want it to be?
We should do a collab. Like, you know how Mr. Beast be having like guests?
Mr. Beast
like that. We should do that. It'll benefit both channels.
I'm trying to think.
I wonder who I can like
even want to work with Mr. Beast from.
I wonder who else would
we
be
need
like,
to get
Mr.
Mr.
down with me too.
Y'all Redeemers. We need to get Mr. Beast to react.
I don't know the community like that.
I know some people in the community. I like the boy. I like the boy Asian Theory. He break down stuff pretty good. It's a cool. I forget their name and I feel bad. It's a South Korean like, I'm not sure if they brother and sister or a couple, honestly. I love how Boy break down shit because he can speak like Korean, so like he be knowing like
I
double meanings.
always be curious on the linguistical wordplay in Korean and everything.
His reactions be decent because he'll be like, yo, it was a Stray Kids joint. Ironically, it was the Surf's Up joint. I feel like I had this conversation with y'all before. You know, on the joint, I'd be like, Dorito, and then Dorito again. And he's like, oh shit, it's a double entendre. It mean da-da-da, and then this mean da-da-da. And I'm just like, damn, they on another level that we can't like learn fucking Korean faster.
That's just like we need low.
Who else fucking fire? The musicians, they got like a whole musician school that react to music and K-pop.
I know whenever like it'll be like either producer reacts or vocal coach reacts, like those like specialty
the vocal
kind of
coach,
people.
the white boy, I like him a lot too. He's decent. The producer boy is decent too when he breaks down because he produced for major artists.
That's what I'm saying. So whenever people have like a specialty
shit
kind of behind them and get into reactions, that shit's always cool.
The musicians, they was shitting, like they really was eating. They was like, oh my god, it just went from bass 1 to C1, and the joint. I was like, yo, I gotta learn a little bit more music so we can
it really helps like our palate though, like kind of, you know, being in tune with all that.
We all gotta pick like something else we want to learn and like up the ante and shit. Just love him. Like, Jerry, teach me more music.
We all gotta do something.
Honestly, I want to learn more Korean. It's just like the wordplay and everything.
Shit, they didn't make it in there. We gotta learn Japanese now too.
J-pop world.
Welcome back, Redeemers. Thanks for joining us again. My name is Curtis.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Jarek.
And today we got from RM's album Indigo, All Day, featuring Tablo.
Woo!
Loving the album so far, so without further ado, let's get into this track and see what we got.
Yep, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button.
Got here. If this drop how I think, this might be one of my favorite beats on here. So.
Okay.
Love that drum bass kick. He's riding this beat.
Okay. 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 Hey. I'm getting some J-Hope energy.
I can see it.
Respectfully.
Who is Tablo?
Get your ass off the bench, start warming up. We gotta fight when they say behave.
That's a bar! That's a bar!
No, who's bro?
Slit on this shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna download this when we done. all day. Live your life, yo. Oh, here we go, the poetry. Sing rap. Gotta believe it. Believe it. You gotta believe it.
One more drop.
I want one more drop bad. Feel like Peter Griffin. This is my favorite joint off the album so far.
Oh shit.
Favorite joint off the album so far.
I like that.
Arm's singing voice needs some props too. He really has a beautiful singing voice as well.
Yeah, I think whatever someone's favorite song is off the album is just gonna be indicative of whatever you probably like. You know what I mean? Like if you like more of a turn up joint, then this might be for you. If you like something more neo soulish, Yun might be for you. If you like something that's kind of like nightclub eerie, like well, not eerie, but like kind of like the neo soul, but like with a kick a little bit more, I think the Pac joint like worked for us. And then what was the first joint? Wildflower.
Yeah.
That's more of, like we said, that kind of B.O.B. pocket, respectfully. I like this a lot. Y'all got to give us some information and tell us who's bro and what's going on, cause he spit like he knew like all eyes was gonna be on him. He's like, oh shit, Arm want me for something?
I gotta pay rent with this one.
Yeah, rent was due. Like he collected.
He said, oh shit.
Then full 16s, yo, like
full 16s do hit different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I said it. I was getting like a little bit of J-Hope energy as far as like the upbeat. I don't know. J-Hope kind of has that like, oh yeah. But I like that. I like anytime that I'm not gonna say
that's a legend apparently.
Oh, your legend. Gen 1 or something?
I mean, he's 42.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he went to Stanford University, a Canadian-Korean rapper.
He went to Stanford University? Let me see his joint.
What if I'm talking about the wrong bull?
No, because does he have conspiracy? Okay.
Like a conspiracy charge?
Okay, then I'm not even going to bring that up then. Because once you said that, I got triggered.
What happened? Now I need to know.
Yup, I know him.
Oh shit, man.
It's kind of funny. 2 minutes ago, it's like, give me some information.
What happened?
I know him. Nah, I'm not gonna get into full details, but basically, like Bull allegedly had like went to Stanford or something like that, and then people was calling him out saying that he was lying and he never went there. That people was there his same year. He think he posted his degree and shit from there though, and it was just controversy. Like, did he go? I remember them talking about this. Were you here? Was it a rise or was it something? Why do I remember us being kind of? I thought we was here and watched it. There's a lot of controversy. Now I know who that is, though.
It was confirmed that he graduated.
It's so weird circling back to that, like the earlier rises and stuff, and kind of just getting like these little.
I think we're gonna rewatch a couple of them and put them on YouTube.
That's awesome.
And also give us an opportunity to re-gauge some more information again and stuff like that. I wasn't really supposed to say that, but y'all heard it here.
Spoilers.
Nah, but I back to this track. Like I love the energy. It's probably no other way to put it. And most of this CD to me so far has been just like freedom, like good vibes, like positive energy, and just RM feeling like that he. I keep saying has a weight lifted off his shoulder. I'm not sure maybe if that's the perfect way to put it, but I'm just feeling a lot more musical freedom.
So he was a part of a hip-hop group, a Korean hip-hop group called Epic High.
Oh!
Guess what the fuck their debut album is called? Map of the Human Soul.
Oh, Map of the Human Soul.
Map of the Human Soul.
The dots is dotting.
Was released in 2003.
So
that makes so much sense.
But I do know like Epic High is goated.
They on
like
Mount
I
Rushmore.
know they on they like K-pop legends and stuff like that. So so this makes sense then. This makes sense then. Okay, this is.
I was gonna say
so
the way he was rapping on there though, like,
you could tell this wasn't his first rodeo.
Nah. And that's again a full 16 though.
I wonder, is this somebody RM looks up to then as well? Then
I would imagine so, because he seemed to look to a lot of people of GOAT status, like to him as far as like influences.
Because I think when we do like a lot of like who people looked up to, Epic High are mentioned like a lot every time someone mentions like, oh, I'm a rapper, and it was like, oh, I listen to Epic High like growing up.
Epic High, Icon, or maybe like Bobby from Icon.
Icons.
I know G
Big
Dragon
Bang
gets mentioned in there. Is Eric Nam from Epic High, if I'm not mistaken? I could be completely off. I just know he's like a name
he does get mentioned a lot.
Name that seems to be.
Did it tell you who the other person is? Or are you still looking at controversy?
Other person of Epic High? I did not look into that. I'm gonna tell you right now. Epic High, Metrogen, and DJ Two Cuts.
Okay.
He had a comeback in 2012.
Nah, that's crazy though, having that feature.
According to this Korean
features
article,
these albums been crazy.
Tablo didn't listen to RM's song before agreeing to collaborate.
I get it.
Greatness recognized greatness, I guess.
Yeah, let me do a favor and download this. Oh yeah, I was about to say, what sample is that too? Oh dang.
I was curious about that myself.
Oh dang. At least I think that's what the sample was saying, or I could be wrong as shit. I thought it was just saying,
yeah, there's mutual love between BTS and Epic High. Epic High was apparently, big inspiration. They were actually singing a Epic High song in the suit. So we didn't even know that.
Okay. This is a P Dog joint too. I think you stated that when you first came on. Yeah, that sample is fire. I like the progressions of the beat and how it just kind of works itself and kind of gets more ramped up because it slows down after you get the first part of the sample, and then you kind of can slowly hear like the all day behind them. I like that too with the sampling. It was a certain energy with here. And it's crazy because obviously if you bring it back, we're like, who's bro that rap with him? You can just feel like some old head energy, some kind of like big dog. I don't know why I just felt like kind of like some big dog energy. I forget what that one verse is. I know you're gonna bring it back. You know what line I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, that shit kind of was just
I'm bringing
it was
back.
like okay, yeah. It was like chill, big dog. We ain't know, chill. Father, forgive them for they not know. But nah, like he definitely like snapped. And then I did like at one point it was kind of like a back and forth almost. Like I thought like that was decent. I think both their voices kind of pair off like really well together. It's funny. You remember the white boy in Philly named Zero?
Yeah.
Both voice kind of reminded me a bit of like Zero, and Zero kind of reminded me of M.
It was giving me Eminem.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much like he sounded directly like M, but I don't know why his voice sounded a little
like the approach, the cadence was pretty similar.
And respectfully, because I'm pretty sure people be like, he's been rapping just as long, or but like it's just y'all know how it is. I'm not about to keep explaining myself. That like sometimes like you get so comfortable because it's almost like second nature. Like, oh, this reminds me of something else. But I kind of was thinking about that. But then once he started going off, he was in like his own lane. This was dope. I honestly wish they had more tracks together and shit. I feel like I need to hear a 21 Drake type joint because it's. To me, ain't nothing better in hip hop than when two pens push each other. Where it's like, all right, his verse, you'll go, and then I go, and then it's like, oh man, fuck, I kind of want to write my verse over.
It's always nice seeing
when iron sharpens iron,
a legend and a legend and a new legend. You know what I mean? Like a younger artist with the older artist, and they're both so well at their craft. We saw it with Nas and Cole.
I was actually gonna bring up Cole's with the middle child thing, as far as like kind of it feels like RM like looking up to these goats, but also being a goat himself and kind of trying to be the example.
I'm glad y'all gave a better example because I was going to do Drake and Jack Harlow. So it's just like
Jared look at Jared
What the fuck is wrong with you, Nick?
Jack Harlow might be top 10 white rappers.
Top 10, I'll give you that. Yeah.
5 a little harder.
It's the body of work for me. It's the body of work.
That's what it is. I was about to say he's pretty young in his career. He's only into his second album.
It's kind of crazy. People get like 5 good tracks and people like, yo, you.
It's hard because the time moves on and you forget things. Like people may not have the Beastie Boys in their top 5 joint. And it's just they should, but it'll just be like
But yeah,
someone about House of Pain is in my.
It's like Mike Linkin Park.
If he is, I get it. You know what I mean?
Top 10.
Top 10. If he was 5, I get it. I heard enough. Right. Fuck that. Sometimes you can hear one. That ain't always true. People are like, you don't have enough body of work. Man, if you got 10 crazy joints. He dropped 2 albums and is goated for like forever. So, Lauryn Hill is my number 2 for female. She has 1 album and a couple features. So it's, but that's another subject. Let's stay. This would be a crazy subject. Nonetheless, you can feel Tablo's. I guess his name is real shit. You could feel his energy like through everything, and I love y'all bringing up the whole like legends and legends. Just when you have 2 iconic people on one track, one probably looked up to the other. It's not so much a passing of the baton, but almost kind of like a verbal exercise where it's like, yo, young boy, I still got it, and it's like, yo, old head, I'm it now.
It's like a nice duel. It's beautiful to see. I really loved everything about this. The execution was dope. I love the way they flowed on the beat individually. I was thinking Tablo had the best verse on there, just because of the way it felt a little bit more aggressive and more like in your face, and I appreciate that. I'm not saying that RM didn't carry or hold his own.
Does the surprise factor have anything to do with it a little too?
Yeah, the surprise
where sometimes
factor.
Like I had no expectations for the second person.
Right, because as far as K-hip hop goes, I'm used to RM. I've never heard Tablo rap until today.
If I also may add something, all the features we had heard had been people who had only done the hook for the most part, and this was a full verse. So as opposed to maybe the expectations being like, "Hey, is this person just going to be a vocalist, kind of on the hook or something like that?"
Right. I didn't even think about it that way. I wasn't expecting a full verse from Tablo. So I'm.
I don't know why I was. I don't know why it sounded weird. I feel like his picture was bigger than everyone else.
I don't listen.
It's like weird.
Listen to too many Korean hip hop goats, but I can see the influence. Like you can hear the influence he has had on like today's rappers. A very well put together verse. It's good to see that, he's still rapping, and doing that. It's just beautiful to see, man. I love hip hop. There's some beautiful shit right there.
Bring real hip hop back. Say nah.
I think we was talking about this. We was talking about this earlier. Like there isn't too many collabs like that. The one we just got was 21 Savage 21 and Nas.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? And we don't really get too many of those.
That's ironically really crazy, yo, low key. Before you get into your spill. Off camera, we real life just had like a half an hour conversation about 21 Savage, basically, being a little disrespectful towards Nas. And I don't think he meant no ill intention. I think he just was kind of talking in fucking Clubhouse or whatever, and people kind of ran with it. He really shouldn't have said what he said. But he said what he said, and then obviously him and Nas had a phone conversation, and then a track dropped instantly. This generation... And then Nas' generation, and like you said, then we reacted to a track instantly of, RM's generation and Tablo's generation, and just kind of, combined. So it's kind of crazy. It's just, what the fuck is the universe hearing us talking?
Timing of it was crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah. There's not too many of that, man, and it's beautiful when it happens, because a lot of people say hip-hop is a young man's game, which it is to a certain extent, but we have legends, we have OGs, we have people who who laid down the blueprint. And is if we have if the legends are still here, you know, contribute more into the culture by uplifting the younger generation, because that happens in every other genre. You know, hip hop is one of the youngest genres of music. It's about to turn 50 next year. You know what I mean? It hasn't even been around that long. So most of our legends are here. Most of the people who founded hip hop are still around. So it's always beautiful to see the collaboration, because we see it all the time in like R&B or rock or country, any other genre. We see, you know, the Madonnas and the Miley Cyrus, or the, you know, the even bands do shows like a band from the 80s with a band from now. It's all different types of things that they do. So it's always good to see rappers do that, you know?
Yeah, and two things. I think with hip-hop, too, people tend to hip-hop to get their flowers when they gone versus, like, kind of when they here. And hip-hop is also a genre where you can lose people very fast due to, like, hood shit, like, as far as, like, you know, gun violence or just something. So I do think while people are around and people are here to appreciate each other, they definitely should be doing more mixing of music. We had certain beefs in hip-hop where we were stolen or robbed of music that we never really got together. Like, imagine, like, you know, if Big and Pac would have been able to do, like, you know, joint albums together, or just, you know, kind of like things of those nature. KRS-One early on, beefing with I think it was not Nas and them and shit, but like the other Bronx rappers. Why is everything kind of leaving my head and shit like that? Just collabs that you felt like you should have got like a lot earlier that like you didn't. Even not with punning them. This is a few years before.
You said Bronx. So
you had a beef with a few rappers.
Yeah, they had beef with a few rappers. But just even like You Love Wu-Tang and shit like that. They Meth did shit with Big, but Raekwon and all them, they said they had a respect for Big, Raekwon and Ghost and everything, but it seemed like it was a lot of animosity between like a lot of people.
Well, there was several disses missing.
It was the era of a lot of disses in tracks, and they'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not talking about you," but like the track kind of sounds like they talking about each other and shit. They got the whole skits where it sounds like they talking about Biggie and skits and shit, and it's like, you diss me? Nah, we cool. And if I did, it's all love. Like, you know what I mean? So it was that.
Biggie had shit like that too, where he was like, your crew like a dozen, my crew, 300 or some.
He was I know people say Drake is the dirty wine master. Biggie was the dirty wine master. He would say people's names kind of blatantly sometimes, but he had a lot of underlying just. He's on the whole track with Jay-Z kind of dissing him the entire track while they're on the track with each other and shit.
But back then, that low-key used to be hip-hop, though, in a sense. It was like, I'm
better than you.
Well, it was like, we're not a team. It's like we're, against each other. So it's kind of, it was almost like...
You my brother. I was about to bring up Kendrick. You my brother, but I want to murder you.
Yeah. Legendary verse.
The verse still won't stand as good as... I'll get into it later on. The verse was just really name dropping. So you probably hate Big Sean part.
No, I like Big Sean.
Oh, okay. It's people that hate his part.
Jay Electron had the best verse to me.
And I was about to say it's a group of people out there that say Jay Electron.
Poetry in his verse is crazy.
You probably only heard that verse 3 times.
His verse go hard, but it's funny because
eyelashes like umbrella when it rained from the heart.
I always hear both of them. I hear a group of people that be like, he had the best part, then another group that be like, I cut it off after as soon as it. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker. You missing.
You missing.
All that to say, like that's kind of the essence of rap and hip hop.
Crazy is a lot of like rappers, like older rappers, who be like who act like they're too good to collaborate with the younger generation. That hinders their legacy. Right, because since hip-hop is so young, we've never had 40, 50, 60-year-old rappers. This is new, right, as opposed to other genres who still have 40, 50, 60-year-old rock bands and shit like that, which is awesome, and it's beautiful to see when certain artists are like, you know what, yes, I am going to collab, because like you said, like there's certain artists we never got to see together. I love Eminem. That was one of my top 3 favorite rappers ever. Probably still in my top 5 for sure. I always wanted to see him make music with Mac Miller. I never got that. I'm not sure why. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure because there was a certain time when like M wasn't collaborating with many people after ML LP2. He really wasn't collaborating with people.
Was that during the rehab stuff?
No, that was after rehab. After he was like clean and stuff, he dropped Marshall Mathers LP2, which he did have.
Oh, LP2. Okay.
He did have a John with Kendrick on there, but he wasn't really. And he said it in interviews like he wouldn't.
And that felt more like a. I'm not gonna say a favor because Kendrick. I don't know if he was originally signed to Dre, but he was an artist kind of under Dre and shit. So I'm not saying that was like a. It felt weird when I heard M on the Juice WRLD track. When Juice WRLD and M did the joint, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like, you doing collabs with like newer artists again and shit. Right. And it's more fucked up because he was dead. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and it was like I feel like it's too late now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there was a window of opportunity because now it feels forced. You know what I mean? And I think he had other opportunities where he could have snapped. That's all.
Well, shit, let Slaughterhouse say he wasn't even doing shit with them unless it was Cypher shit or just. Yeah. So you know,
him and Royce had the whole Bad Meets Evil thing, but as far as like Budden and Crook and Joel and shit, that was kind of.
This
and I don't think everyone it's every artist's prerogative just to jump on tracks with everybody, but I do think not like you owe it to anybody. Why not usher in the new wave or like kind of help? Like look what Snoop did with Wiz.
To tell you the truth, being honest, most likely it's you got to have a certain status to even
Snoop and Wiz is
call me. Basically,
it's the perfect combination. You
got to be on a certain level to like it. Otherwise, it from their point of view, it might look like clout chasing or something where it's like let me just grab like a goated artist and feature with them, and try to
I don't think it'd be nothing like, let's say like I said, I like Jack Harlow, so it's just like if him and M. First off, it seemed like it feels weird that white rappers don't even do tracks with other white rappers.
That's what I was saying, bro.
It seemed like
I feel like Eminem and Jack Harlow gotta have a song. Gotta have a song. No way they don't have a song. They don't have a song.
Well, no, I was about to say G-Eazy and Machine Gun Kelly was beefing.
Eminem and Jack Harlow do got a song.
Oh, okay.
They did it. Yeah. Yep. Music to be murdered by. That's when he started collabing with people. Music to be murdered by Eminem.
The
recent joint. Oh, okay. Then maybe I'm out of touch with some of the stuff now. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough.
He did now. He collabs with people now.
Yeah. But I told you once that wave started happening on because like that Juice WRLD joint is on M album. So whatever album, that album kind of fire a little too. Whatever album
I think that's music to be murdered.
That is music to be murdered.
Yeah.
Okay, then that album is fire. He switched his cadences, got a little bit newer. He felt a little bit more refreshed. Like I kind of like that.
Well, he had also stepped back and done a lot of producing work when he wasn't collabing, so that that could be at least.
Yeah, he was always working. He's not one of those dudes where I think he was like a hermit or something and just.
No, he don't come out like once a year. Or nothing like that. Like
he just was on some chill shit. I don't gotta rap every 5 minutes. I got like $100 million in the bank account.
He has the most content of any goated rapper out there. I mean, he drops way more than anyone on that Mount Rushmore.
We'll get to an Eminem conversation later and shit, because I do fuck with M and shit like that, but it just was a period in rap where it just was like, I'm not gonna tell someone to do something new and creative. Like I said, we'll have an M conversation. We had an M conversation,
but it's beautiful to see.
Yeah,
we're in the era now where older rappers are collabing with younger rappers, and that shit beautiful to me.
And,
I love it. I can't hate it. Even if the song is bad, I'm gonna be like, that shit beautiful.
Yeah, like the point that I was about to talk about, like with Snoop and Wiz, where I just was like, that's where it works out beautifully, because a lot of people compare Wiz kind of to Snoop. I think Wiz might have had more flows and cadences.
50 Cent, Pop Smoke, R.I.P.
Yeah, and then they did a track, and then they did the She Wanna Fuck with the woo.
50 Cent, Pop Smoke. It's beautiful.
And what a lot of people said, Pop Smoke, you remind us of like 50 as far as like your voice goes and like some of what your content is talking about. So I do like when they embrace it, because some old heads hear that and like hate happens where it's like, he don't fucking sound like me, or what y'all talking about? Like, I'm still me, and it's just like, bro, like young boy, he 19, he doing this thing, like just.
I'm surprised there's not an Eminem Lil Dicky track. Lil Dicky and Slim Shady, I need that.
Which is crazy because Lil Dicky, he did a Snoop track and he did
Lil Dicky not a bad rapper at all.
If he's in somebody 5, I get it. Yo.
Yeah, I'm like,
Shelton him stand up. Philly in this bitch.
You got Will and Lil Dicky.
Yeah, look at that. Philly got a decent white rapper. Look at that.
Nah, but that is another thing too. A lot of old heads jumped on. Well, I'm not gonna say jump on his wave too. I think maybe that's what some of the old heads be afraid too. Is like I think you mentioned it slightly when you was like they don't want to seem like they like Dickie or clout chasing or just kind of hopping on the wave and shit. But I think that shit decent. That made my love for Drake go up when every year it felt like he was showing us new artists that we didn't know and shit. When like Versace came out, he introduced people like to the Migos, and they just was like, "Oh, I never like kind of heard these boys." Who was it? Young Blue a couple years ago. Yeah. When he introduced us to what was it? JB Block Boy. And them like he just kind of always was he was every year it felt like he was introducing somebody new that maybe people in their pocket might have heard of, but like mainstream we didn't hear about. So and Drake's not even that old. He's like 35 years old. And is always embracing like the youth. I think that's decent, man, because being in Philly, and I'm not gonna turn this into a long thing. When you hear stories like with Meek and other people, and it's kind of like, damn, like why you ain't help Young Boy? And some of the responses you hear from rappers where it's like, man, I had it hard coming up, so they gotta have it hard too. And it's just like, why? In what world does that make sense? Especially when you're a minority. And it's like you have other people of power that could kind of help you. It's just a weird situation. All that to say, I'm glad this collab happened. I don't know how it happened. This feels super organic. I'm pretty sure without knowing the background that him and RM probably have a long history of friendship and respect for each other, just because RM don't strike me as the type to have anybody on this album he don't fuck with. These are probably people who are either his peers or his old heads that he looked up to a long time.
Not only pay it forward, but like to show his flowers kind of to those who he admires.
And I like it in the sense of like obviously with bro being from Epic High, I feel like we might have done a reaction to them already, if I'm being honest, and we've heard about them already. But I love that BTS like in general, and even a lot with RM, are just kind of introducing us to more people in K-pop that we might not have heard about. Different songs, different covers and things. They in themselves are helping our palette with K-pop get widened.
Yeah, anytime a respected artist or anything does a cover, you'll be like, oh, who's the original or how did the original sound? So you're getting put on that way. But then also if they feature on it, and I don't want to say that features are less common in K-pop or anything like that, but traditionally when you're in a group and everything, a lot of the dynamic is within the group, subunits and so on and so forth. So
I think you're allowed to say it's less common.
Yeah,
because I know people have examples.
I would at least say it's much less.
You're in a group with 7 people. It's not too many collabs I'm gonna need to do because I'm already collabing every time we.
I mean, you get them here and there and everything like that, but definitely of this kind of status, it's that's got to feel amazing for especially anyone who grew up idolizing Epic High, and for sure anyone who currently is whether they're an army or just someone who
loves music.
Like it's just, as Jarek said, it's just good culturally, I feel.
Okay. But you good, Kurt. You can get your clip off. I know we was talking almost 35 minutes just about old hip hop over here.
Nah, you cool. I really like. I know a lot of what was said was definitely how Tablo really I don't want to necessarily say had the best verse, but it's certainly it's the storytelling of it, because it's RM sort of poses a little bit of a question kind of in his verse, and essentially the punch is answered by Tablo. So it's like storytelling. You get what I mean? So basically in RM's verse, it's kind of how he says fuck the AI, fuck the algorithm, fuck all that. Basically, I want to be on my own tight time. I want everything to be natural. I want to where's my rhythm and all these bots. Things. Essentially, you just don't want anything to kind of everything's so mass marketed. In the sense that it's he talks about commercials and, people, whether it's wearing trendy dance clothes or anything like that. It's just everything is built towards, again, that metaphor of the highway where everything is just kind of steaming along this path. Not to say you want to deviate from it, just to be, not like hipster or anything like that, where it's like, you're cool just because you deviate or anything like that. Like, not in that sense, but more of like, I want to find my identity and who I am amidst this, everyone trying to kind of be the same. But I like that he essentially kind of calls that into question, where he really is like, like, I don't want to be on that type of time. Like, like he says, like, when will I have like my own poem and everything like that? How RML always, references like the writing of tracks itself and everything, because, the poetry. But basically, when he kind of poses that question out, but also says that, like, at the same point, like, we're kind of all stars here. Mm-hmm. So it's like that light is like in you. You just have to find it.
Stars here. BTS track.
Facts.
Yeah. He did it again later on too, when he said we got dynamite in our DNA.
And that's I
was like, what you?
That's the.
That was a bar.
No, that's exactly what I mean by, like, throwing up the pitch for someone to then kind of knock it out the park. Like, you just setting up everything.
I get you. He put bro in the best position to succeed by asking all those questions, and then bro was able to kind of like to answer them, and it just, like you said, almost just like, Kurt, get it. He's like, hit out the park.
Exactly. It's that team, like, collaborative effort, and that's what's best for the track. Because again, with that younger and older kind of status, as far as someone who kind of is asking these questions and someone who's been through it, so it has more of a feel to it. Like, it has more of an impact when it's delivered by someone who is, of a senior status, so to say, or so to speak. But basically, I really like in Tablo's verse, several things. For instance, when he says all gears are in neutral, basically, like, that kind of going with the flow. Like, I'm not, switching up, any kind of, like, everything is just flowing naturally. So I kind of like that he kind of basically came at it from, like, that stance as well. But then basically when he gets into the latter part of his verse, which is, where I was saying basically where that really pays off as far as, RM stuff, was your life is a big match, so make it a bigger fire. And kind of like basically like the wordplay of match, like it's a battle, like it's a, a match, but also like a spark match. So it's like, because it's this big match, you got to light this bigger fire. So I really like the analogy of kind of putting the wordplay of being at odds to shining your inner light with the wordplay of match in particular. And again, that's English wordplay. So I'm not exactly sure how well versed he is in English. I'm sure he's fluent because that wordplay was extremely fluent. But all that to say, it's like there's wordplay like that, and I can't even speak on any linguistical wordplay for the Korean language. So all that to say, it's like the fact that it is just as a side like language kind of the wordplay being that strong, like that is just something that really stands out to me as well. But then basically when he says we got to fight, and then basically we got dynamite in our DNA, keeping with that match, that inner light, while also shouting out, BTS clearly. But also the fact that he says, I'll take care of myself with eyes wide open. But then he said, if it's hard to watch a dream, or if you don't want to see my life, it's hard to watch a dream with your eyes closed. So essentially, like, if you don't want to see what I'm doing, you got your eyes closed like a dream or whatever. But he used that wordplay to say, like, like I'm focused, my eyes are open. If your eyes are closed, like kind of, so I just really like how he kind of full circled all that. But it definitely, like, I would say his verse hits the hardest for me, but it's all based on kind of the setup that RM, poses as a challenge. But also, like, just separating like the music side of this for a second, just knowing that RM is going on like a human journey, like a personal journey, to then write this. I am really curious again on the process of it. Like, I don't know if he had these questions and then asked, Tablo or one of them, and then they kind of, put the answers together like in this sort of form, or, how that sort of process kind of came about. But it's just all that to say, I think this might be, like, I know RM clearly is, every track on this album is going to mean so much to him because of all the incredible features he was able to get on it, and just what this chapter represents for him. But I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if he says this was among one of his favorites. And I mean that in the sense of, posing the questions he posed kind of in here to have them answered, like that just feels like timeless advice, even outside of music. So, but that definitely was like how we had said earlier, as far as like a lot of the features had been on the hook particularly, and they all sounded great, of course. But it just like the fact that this was like a verse, full 16, all that to say, like it. I felt the punch from this like a little bit more.
Nah, I'm with you. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Redeemer's probably gonna like give us some more links and stuff like that, because
for sure.
I mean, he doesn't have to, but I really hope like RM tells us a little bit of like what the creative process was behind some of this. Just because we know,
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, just because we know, obviously, like they talk about what was all supposed to happen in 2019, and then what happened with 2020, and just them just kind of not knowing what was going to happen, where you go from here, et cetera, and now you guys get the opportunity to like do these like solo like projects, because technically this is his debut album.
Exactly. The others were mixtapes.
This isn't like mono RM or mixtape. So this is bro's debut album.
And even what he had said in the Festa, as far as albums versus mixtapes, as far as like just putting it out there versus like there's like a a story to be told and all these things. Not to say there wasn't in mono, because clearly he was telling stories in mono, but
just how important it is a little bit more than a mixtape, which could,
if nothing else, for him personally, the way he approached it.
So I'm just very interested to kind of see like what was the thought process. Why certain tracks were, I want this first, second, third, fourth, because he's just so calculated and articulates everything so well and has certain visions that I don't think anything is an accident when it comes to RM.
Well, I'm going to be honest too, just to piggyback off that for a sec. If I'm trying to tell a story of, being, concerned and directionless in life to where I find my healing, and there's 10 tracks. By track 5, there's going to be a turn, right? The midpoint. Track 1 is going to be the concern, the most desperate version of your concern, most likely, and or the posing of the question you're trying to answer. And 10 is going to be most likely the answer, unless there's like bonus tracks and things of that nature. So I know 3 starting points. So essentially, getting from that initial concern to that midpoint, and then from that midpoint to how you're healing it is just kind of you kind of section it off that way. But I'm curious, because at least that's how script writing is for a large part, at least on the plotting aspect of it, not to say like character or anything, but I'm curious if there's something like that RM or honestly any artist in BTS, whether it's Suge or anyone, or just music writers in general, just how they choose to tell their story. Because even within the aspects of a song, you're gonna get your hook, right? You're gonna get your midpoint of a song. You're probably gonna get the key change. In K-pop, you might get a dance break or beat break. Introduce an instrument or take one out. Little things like that.
And trying to collectively tell that story in a nice amount of time, because sometimes these K-pop full-length albums be 40 minutes, 35 minutes. So imagine, like you said, trying to tell something that's so, personal, so like surreal, and like trying to put yourself out there, convey that whole story in like 35 minutes to 50 minutes.
It's crazy too, artists in general, how they do that with 3-minute songs. I mean, because there could be whole songs, like you can go into it with such a vibe, and then all of a sudden it could be like, wow, the story they told in there, and it just, but in the essence of everything, it's only been 3.5 minutes. So it's just crazy what music can do in such a short time. And you, of course, attribute that to the production and the lyricism and things of that nature, but it's just such a drastic impact can kind of be had in such a short amount of time. So. An artist's way of kind of navigating that is always intriguing and interesting to me.
Yep. I'm good. Dirk, anything else you want to add? Yeah, jump in the comments. Tell us how y'all felt about this. We know this was a long conversation. It's probably like a 40-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Once we start talking about hip hop, it can go off the rails. These can lead into 2-hour conversations, but we always try to like lean it back over here and give input. We know I hate like putting redeemers in a box. Sometimes I know people up here will be like, well, they're only 24 or you don't know what's going on. We got redeemers from all ages, whether it's 70-year-old redeemers, 18-year-old redeemers, 35, 45, 50. So it's people who've been around whose music palette is even bigger than our palettes.
Absolutely.
So you know, sometimes I don't be wanting us to write people off like you may not heard hip hop, and somebody be like, I was outside with Nas.
I'm his cousin.
I'm his cousin. Like, so all that to say, I like when y'all jump in the comments and like just kind of tell us how y'all feel about certain things like hip hop related, because I think Jarek and me and Kurt asked like a lot of questions and had like a lot of like good talks up here. So I really want y'all to really listen to everything we said, and like, who are y'all favorite kind of I really want to know who are y'all favorite how can I word the show, older artists and newer artists that linked. Like, what your favorite kind of combination is for old artists and new artists that linked up?
Maybe like Nas and Cole or something like that.
Yeah, because I think that's a good one. Y'all can go older if y'all want to too. Maybe like somebody maybe from
Honestly,
the '90s or something.
Even low key like Big L and Hove, during the freestyles, that was kind of a goated status.
Yeah, which is crazy.
No, they were young, but
yeah, I was about to say they were young. I think Hove might have been older.
Well, I mean, experience in the game.
Yeah, I think Hove might have been older, but somehow he still was Big L Youngboy.
Experience in the game, yeah. L was freestyling for him. But and anyway, just to
they was scared of L.
Everyone was.
Everybody was scared of L.
You dropping albums and you're still going to freestyle battles and rap battles.
That's what I heard. Everybody was scared of L.
L was insane. But even tying this back to like the RM album, just for a brief second, is a lot of the essence of it, at least for what we've seen up to this point, seems to be about the timelessness and kind of stretching outside the borders and just being free and everything like that. So I do think, anyone who's ever kind of, he talks about the human condition seemingly through a lot of it so far, at least. But all that to say, it's, anyone who's ever, existed ever has had to learn, from others. So all that to say, whether, any of our redeemers are 70 or older, or even if they're like teens, they're going to know things in some aspect that we don't, whether it's because of country, language, or, neighborhoods, influence on music, like, books they've read, any kind of things like that. So I'm always, or at least I always try to be open to, receiving any kind of new information, because at the end of the day, that's really how we all, learn anything. So
yeah, so like I said,
always feel free to, educate us.
Yeah, this is another part of why the channel was created. Anytime we get a chance to learn new information, whether it's about K-pop or anything in life, jump in the comments and like let us know, especially if you guys have great feedback.
And shout out Army Not Army, because you've always been helping us out with that since the channel's begun, honestly.
Always been pretty vocal. I appreciate everybody who's who does that. And at some point this month, we're probably gonna give a big shout out to a lot of people who do it often in the comments.
Pay our flowers.
No, real shit. Jump in the comments. Tell us where y'all list this track at too, as far as like all the album stuff we did so far on here. We about to jump into the tiny desk. Love y'all.
Take care.
Peace.